One day you are 8 years old and summer feels endless. A single afternoon lasts forever. Waiting 10 minutes feels like punishment from a bored god. Then, years later, you blink and it is June again. Another birthday, another Christmas. Another, how is it already Monday? And the disturbing part is this: it does not slow down, it gets faster. Childhood feels like a giant country you once lived in. Adulthood feels like a hallway you are pushed through, while emails attack from every direction. But time itself is not speeding up. A year is still a year, a day is still 24 hours. The clock is innocent, mostly. The problem is your brain, because your brain does not measure time like a clock. It measures time like a storyteller. And as you get older, that storyteller starts skipping chapters. This is why time feels faster as you get older. Your brain records fewer new moments, compresses familiar routines, and compares every new year to the pile of years you have already lived. Time is not moving faster. Your life is becoming easier for your brain to summarize, and that is the scary part. Start with the simplest explanation. When you are 5, 1 year is 20% of your entire life. That is not just a year, that is a continent. But when you are 50, 1 year is only 2% of your life. Same 365 days, much smaller piece of the story, so your brain does not feel it with the same weight. This is sometimes called the proportional theory of time. A summer at age 10 feels huge because it takes up a massive chunk of your memory. A summer at age 35 gets filed somewhere between work was annoying and I should fix that thing in the kitchen. Your brain compressed it into a thumbnail. The brain is lazy, but useful enough. But math is only part of the answer. Some weeks feel endless. Some vacations feel huge. Some boring meetings last longer than ancient empires. So something else is happening. The real secret is memory. Think about your first day at a new school. New faces, new rules. Your brain is alert because it has no idea what is going on. Everything is new, so your brain records everything. The fear, the awkwardness, the feeling that everyone can tell you are confused. Your brain is collecting evidence like a tiny detective with anxiety. Now compare that to a normal Tuesday as an adult. You wake up, you check your phone, you go to work, you answer messages, you eat something that technically counts as food, you return home, you scroll, you sleep. Your brain says, I have seen this episode, so it records less. Not because the day did not happen, but because it was predictable. And predictable days are easy to delete. That is one of the biggest reasons time feels faster. In the moment, routine can feel normal. But when you look back, routine has almost no landmarks. Your memory searches the week and finds fog. A few emails, maybe one sandwich. A vague sense that you were tired. So the whole week collapses. It did not feel short while you were living it. It feels short when your brain tries to remember it. This is the difference between experienced time and remembered time. Waiting in line for 12 minutes can feel like a hostage situation, but later you barely remember it. A strange weekend trip can fly by while it is happening, but later it feels long because your brain stored dozens of new scenes. This is why childhood feels so long, not because kids have magical time powers, although they can ask why 400 times before breakfast. Childhood feels long because almost everything is new. The first bike ride, the first sleepover, the first time you realize adults do not actually know what they are doing. Huge discovery. Terrible day. Your brain marks new experiences as important. New places, new people, new emotions, new dangers. Childhood is one long sequence of your brain going, what is that? As you age, the world becomes more familiar. You know how restaurants work. You know how traffic works. You know how people pretend to read terms and conditions. Your brain becomes efficient. Efficiency is useful. It also turns life into a slideshow. Researchers studying aging and time perception have found that older people often report that years and decades seem to pass faster. But it is not just old people feel time wrong. It depends on attention, memory, routine, emotion, and how many meaningful events got encoded. Because your brain does not store time directly. It stores change. If nothing changes, there is little for memory to hold on to. A year full of repetition becomes one mental blur. A year full of transitions becomes a map. That is why the year you moved, lost someone, traveled, changed jobs, or completely fell apart for character development can feel strangely long in memory. Painful, yes, but long. Your brain took notes. Your brain also breaks life into scenes. Entering a room, hearing news, making a decision. These boundaries tell memory, new scene. But when every day has the same structure, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday become one thing called wigrai, mostly coffee and obligations. Your brain is constantly asking, have I seen this before? If the answer is yes, it spends less energy. That is why your commute disappears. The first time you visit a city, every corner feels alive. The 10th time, you barely remember the trip. Your brain just refused to waste storage on road version 47. This is useful. If your brain treated every toothbrush experience like a spiritual awakening, you would never leave the bathroom. Familiarity saves energy. But the cost is that your life feels shorter in hindsight. The more predictable your days become, the less your brain writes down. And the less it writes down, the faster the past seems to vanish. There is another darker layer. As you get older, time feels faster because there is less unknown ahead of you. When you are young, the future is enormous. Astronaut, artist, millionaire, person who finally drinks enough water. Later, the future becomes more specific. Some doors close. Some dreams quietly become maybe next year, where dreams go to get murdered politely. Psychologists sometimes call this your time horizon. Young people experience time as open-ended. Later, you become more aware that time is limited. Life can feel more meaningful, but also faster, because your brain knows the number is finite. That is the part nobody likes saying out loud. Time feels faster because your brain is realizing it is not unlimited. But there is good news. You probably cannot make time literally slower, but you can make your life feel longer in memory. The way to do that is not by adding more hours. It is by adding more landmarks. Novelty slows remembered time. So does attention. So does meaning. A new route to work. A real conversation. Learning something difficult. Going somewhere unfamiliar. These things create edges. They give your brain something to encode. They make a week feel like a week again, instead of a loading screen between two weekends. This is why travel feels long. This is why childhood felt huge. This is why painful years can feel strangely large in memory. Your brain does not count minutes. It counts moments that mattered. So if the last year disappeared, it might not mean you wasted it. It might mean your brain had too little to separate it into chapters. Too much sameness. Too many days where your body was present, but your attention was inside a glowing rectangle, selling you someone else's life in vertical format. The answer is not to panic and turn every day into an extreme sport. You do not need to quit your job, move to a mountain, and start communicating only through handmade pottery. Break the pattern. Put markers in time. Make the brain look up. Because one day, this year will become memory. If every day looked the same, your brain will shrink it down until it feels like nothing. But if there were moments of surprise, fear, love, effort, embarrassment, laughter, the year will feel bigger. Not because it had more time, but because it had more life in it. Time is not stealing your life all at once. It is taking it quietly. In familiar days, you forget to notice. You only notice when you look back and realize another year has vanished. Another chapter got summarized. But maybe that means the solution is also quiet. Pay attention. Try new things. Make memories harder to compress. Give your brain more scenes to keep. Because life does not speed up as you get older. It speeds up when you stop giving your mind reasons to remember it.